I'm Jack Sperry, NFL draft analyst here at Chat Sports, and today we're going to be talking about ESPN's Field Yates' latest top 25 big board for the 2025 NFL draft with college football week 1 right around the corner here, man. It's already gotten going here with Colorado and NDSU, Minnesota, North Carolina. We got a whole slate of games this weekend. What players should you be watching out for? Today we got 25 of the top prospects in next year's NFL draft to keep your eye on this weekend. But before we get into it, let us know down there into the comment section, which college football game are you most excited to watch this weekend? Is it Notre Dame, Texas A&M? Is it Georgia, Clemson? Let me know down there in the comment section which game are you the most excited to watch on Saturday. Okay, now let's get into number 25 here in Fields' top 25 big board here. Tacario Davis, the defensive back out of Arizona. Now, what makes Tacario very, very unique is his size, okay? 6'4". You don't really see corners at 6'4" very often. He's got obviously great length, being that 6'4" height, but he also has great size in terms of the weight that he brings to the table, and he plays with really great instincts. So like the arm length that he's bringing to the table, just the general length that he brings as a player is going to be something that these NFL teams really covet, especially if you're looking for a number one press man corner, which many teams are in the first round. Definitely keep your eye on the Wildcats this weekend and throughout the college football season. They got a lot of top prospects. Then we get to Deone Walker, the defensive tackle out of Kentucky. He is 340 pounds, but he can move like crazy. So like Deone is somebody that I'm definitely keeping my eye on to be a first-round pick this year because he's going to be a nose tackle for some team in the National Football League, but he's also going to provide pass rushing upside at that 340 pounds. It's kind of the comp in my opinion, even though, it's tough to be Dexter Lawrence in the National Football League, but that's kind of the profile that I have on him right now. I really like Deone Walker, plus the reports on him as a kid are unbelievable. Great work ethic, great leader, all that great stuff that you want to hear from a top prospect in the NFL draft. Then Emeka Egbuka here out of Ohio State. This is somebody that, it's his time, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. no longer there, right? He has really spent a lot of time with some truly special receivers in his time with the Buckeyes. Now it's his turn to be that guy. Versatile, extremely fast, great route runner. It's going to be really interesting to see just how good Emeka Egbuka can be here with the Ohio State here in 2024. Then we get Denzel Burke, another perimeter player for the Buckeyes here. And let me tell you guys, the Ohio State Buckeyes are absolutely stacked with NFL talent this year. Denzel Burke is a cornerback that really plays with a high level of confidence. He's super sticky, both in man coverage, and he plays with great instincts in zone coverage. Really excited about Burke's future, and Fields has him ranked number 22 on his list. Colston, Loveland, the best tight end in this year's class. And this year's tight end class, in my opinion, guys, is going to be a lot better than what it was last year. And Colston Loveland is the cream of the crop this season. He's really smooth route runner. I wouldn't say he's quite on the level of, say, like a Brock Bowers was last year in terms of being a receiver, but he's got good size. He's going to be a good blocker in the league, and then he's a really, really smooth route runner. I think he's going to be even more productive for the Michigan Wolverines this season. Then we get to another Arizona Wildcat here, the offensive lineman, Jonah. I'm going to completely butcher this name, but Savaiinaea. He has played both right guard and right tackle for the Arizona Wildcats, and he is hulking. He is a great run blocker. I think that he's going to be one of these people that, we see it every single year, these right tackles that come in. Talise Fuwanga this past year, Darnell Wright the year before that, these hulking, run-blocking right tackles. Now, there's some people that think he can move over to the left side. I guess we'll see how things go this year before I make that a final determination. But no matter what, he's going to be a mauling run blocker in the National Football League. Then Quinn Ewers. Once again, it seems like the last 3 years, Quinn Ewers has been on these early top 25 big boards. This really needs to be the year, right? Arch Manning is waiting in the wings there in Austin, and Quinn Ewers needs to really get things going. Now, he doesn't have the best arm strength in the world, but he does process information really well. He can throw from multiple arm angles. I do think Quinn Ewers has a chance to be a first-round talent, but he's going to have to put together a really, really good season with the Longhorns and probably compete for a Heisman Trophy if he wants to get inside the top 10. Now, do you guys believe in Quinn Ewers? Let me know down there in the comments section if you think he will be a round one draft pick this year. Give me a yes or a no to let me know what you guys think about Quinn Ewers' future. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or a no. Then we get to Harold Perkins Jr., the linebacker out of LSU. They moved him to edge rusher last year. Now they're moving him back to inside backer. And, he's going to be an excellent blitzer. He's really good in coverage. He's got sideline-to-sideline speed. As an inside linebacker, this guy has a chance to be a true impact in the National Football League from day one. He should be one of the better inside backers in college football this year. And I think that LSU defense is going to be pretty decent with him roaming the middle. Then you got Emory Jones Jr., another Tiger here at number 17, the offensive lineman. Both LSU tackles are going to be on this list. Emory Jones plays right tackle, very big, maybe a little bit inconsistent, needs to get better in pass protection a bit, but he's definitely got the physical profile you look for from an NFL tackle. Then we got Abdul Carter, who's moving to edge rusher this year for Penn State. After they had a couple edge rushers get taken last year in Chop Robinson and Adisa Isaac. Carter played inside backer last year. Now he's moving to the outside. Like a lot of these super athletic, freaky Nittany Lion linebackers, Micah Parsons, obviously the king of those guys, but they've got a lot of really interesting players that have come through that Nittany Lion program, and Carter is freakishly athletic. Very intrigued to see how he plays in the Nittany Lion defense this year as an edge rusher. Then we got to JTT here, the edge rusher out of Ohio State, ended up coming back to Imoluau. Is a really, really talented player. Could have been a first-round pick this past year, but, a lot of these guys, Egbuka, JTT, all these guys decided to come back to Ohio State to try and help the Buckeyes win a national championship, and they are absolutely loaded this year. Malachi Starks out of Georgia. I love the way that Georgia uses these safeties. I love Tyke Smith in last year's NFL draft class because he's so versatile. He could play at free safety, in the box, in the slot, and the same thing goes for Malachi Starks. And I think Starks is even better than what Smith was, and he was one of my favorite players in last year's NFL draft. Big fan of Malachi Starks. Keep your eye on that kid. Then we go to Luther Burden III. Now there's some really, really good receivers in this class. Maybe not quite on the level as last year's wide receiver class, which I think was probably the greatest of all time in any NFL draft ever. But Luther Burden, really, really crisp route runner, can get open to any level of the field. Now, he's not necessarily the most physically gifted guy in the world, but he's definitely not the least talented guy physically either. So he definitely takes advantage of his gifts. He's going to be a first-round pick for sure if he stays healthy. Then we got Benjamin Morrison. If you want somebody to just man somebody up one-on-one and just leave him on an island in this draft class, in my opinion, that is Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. He is their best defensive player. He's really good in press man coverage. He's super sticky in that, and that's going to be his forte heading into the National Football League. Then we got Nick Scroton, the defensive lineman here, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Really, really freaky athlete, like a lot of these edge rushers in this year's NFL draft class. It's going to be very interesting to see how he plays against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish this weekend. So coming up here, I got the top 10 names on Field Yates' top 25 big board of players that you guys should be watching out for here during week one of the college football season. But before we get into the top 10 here, go ahead and check out some awesome hoodies for your favorite college football program today when you go to chatsports.com/hoodie, whether you're a Buckeye fan, whether you're a Michigan fan, whatever the case may be, a Fighting Irish fan, USC fan, we got it all on the Fanatics website, guys. So if you want to roll Tide or if you bleed blue, whatever the case may be, you guys can go chatsports.com/CFB hoodie to get a brand new, stylish hoodie for your favorite college football program today. Talked about how LSU has two excellent tackles this year. Will Campbell is the other one, slated in at number 10 on Fields' big board. He plays left tackle for LSU. He seems like he's really ready to play in the National Football League. Really, really smooth at his size, which is exactly what you want to see. Probably a top 10 pick next spring, in my opinion. Then we get to Travis Hunter. Now, of course, Hunter played last night against NDSU, and he absolutely balled out, had some incredible touchdown receptions. And, he ended up getting 3 of them on the day. He averaged almost 20 yards per catch, 132 yards on 7 receptions. Just an absolute freakish show from Travis Hunter last night in Boulder. And a lot of people are talking about him potentially being a top 5 pick in the 2025 NFL draft after that performance. And I do think that at the end of the day here, there's more money in the cornerback department, or in the wide receiver department, I should say, than there is in the cornerback department in the NFL. And if Travis Hunter wants to maximize the amount of money he can make in his career, he's going to be a wide receiver. Now, you can make an argument with his ball skills, with his length, with his ability to match in both zone coverage and man coverage, that he might be a better cornerback. But at the end of the day, man, wide receiver is where all the money is. Just look at the contract Brandon Ayuk signed yesterday for $30 million per year. I don't think he's going to be able to really say no to that. But just so you guys know, I'm going to warn you here, the concern that is going to be brought up with Travis Hunter during this draft process is that he's a two-way player. And because of that, he essentially has double the reps of any of these other guys. So the tread on the tires isn't as much as you want it to be here. He's got a lot of miles on him before he even enters the National Football League. So that's going to be probably the main concern with Travis Hunter. And if anything is going to move him down the draft board, it's going to be that, because this is probably the most talented overall player in college football today, in my opinion. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, where does Travis Hunter land in the National Football League? Do you think that he's going to be a wide receiver, a cornerback, or do you think a team is going to let him do both? Do WR for wide receiver, CB for cornerback, or B for both? Another Arizona Wildcat here, so definitely keep your eye on Arizona this college football season. Tacario McMillan. I always get his name wrong, man. It's such a weird first name, but he is so freaking good. He is big. He's got incredible quickness for his size, really elite hands and ball skills. This guy is an absolute marvel. Now, is he on the same level as, say, the top 3 receivers in this year's draft class? Maybe he's a tick behind those guys, in my opinion, but he's not that far off. He is an absolutely unbelievable wide receiver, and he's probably going to go extremely high in this year's NFL draft. Then we get to another Colorado Buffalo, Shedeur Sanders, another guy that kind of put on a show in Boulder, Colorado last night, squeaking out that victory against the NDSU Bison. 4 touchdowns, had kind of a fluky interception. It kind of hit the cleat of somebody, popped up in the air, kind of a super fluky interception, so I'm not too worried about that. But over 440 yards passing. He was running the football effectively, made some really clutch plays on 3rd and long as well in the second half. So Shedeur Sanders is absolutely somebody you have to keep your eye on, especially in this quarterback class, which, let's face it, is not as good as it was this past year or in many years past. So Sanders is somebody where if he's impressive throughout this season, as he was during the NDSU game, he is absolutely going to be a top 15 pick in the 2025 NFL draft, and somebody is going to take a chance on somebody that can process information this quickly, who's generally accurate. He comes from a high level of pedigree, being prime son, so there's definitely a lot to like about Shedeur Sanders. I'm excited to see what he does during this college campaign. And make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon to celebrate college football being back. Let's go, baby. NFL next week, college football this week. I'm so excited to sit on my couch tomorrow and enjoy a nice Saturday of college football for the first time in a very long time. If you're with me on that, make sure you click that thumbs up icon right now. Defensive lineman Mason Graham, 320 pounds, but he's got some really freaky quickness for that size, man. He's going to be a really, really good player in the National Football League. He's constantly behind the line of scrimmage. He uses that quickness to his advantage. He's got a ton of strength to win with power as well. I really think that this guy is going to be probably a top 10 talent, because we know how much interior pass rushers are valuable in the National Football League today. The top quarterback on Field Yates' list, Carson Beck. I mean, Jesus, Carson, take a better picture, bud. But I mean, he is very clean. You watch his film, footwork's good, quick release, all that great stuff. It's going to be interesting to see who between Carson and Shedeur Sanders has the better season and thus gets picked first among the quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft class. But Carson is certainly somebody that NFL teams are going to be heavily on their radar this year. So I'm definitely excited to see him and the Bulldogs play this year. Then we get to Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle for the Texas Longhorns. I mean, this guy's the whole package, okay? He's got the size, he's got the movement ability, he's got the technique, really the complete package as a future left tackle in the National Football League. Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning, whoever's going to be behind under center this year, is going to be well protected on the blind side. Then we get to Will Johnson, and Will Johnson reminds me a lot of Derek Stingley, because Stingley was somebody that in his freshman campaign, he was already dubbed the best cornerback in college football, and a lot of people said the same thing about Will Johnson. Now in the 2025 draft class, we will see where he ends up. Now, Stingley eventually fell down a little bit in terms of the production that he had his final 2 years in college. He dealt with injuries. Hopefully, we don't have to have that discussion with Will Johnson this year. He is absolutely unbelievable, and I do believe he's the number one corner in this class. Then we get two really, really special edge rushers to finish up this class, and Michael Williams and James Pierce Jr., both in the SEC. Both have incredible length, can win with power, and James Pierce Jr. in particular, I mean, the first step quickness is unfreaking believable. I mean, he's unblockable how fast he gets off the ball, and his ability to win with length and power as well with the finesse. I mean, he is the complete package. He's going to be, I think, a number one edge rusher in the National Football League from day one, and I absolutely see why Field Yates ranked him number one overall on his big board. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. Who's going to be the number one overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft? Will it be Shedeur Sanders? Will it be Travis Hunter? Will it be James Pierce Jr.? Will it be somebody else? Predict it for me down there in the comments section. Who's going to be the number one overall pick in next year's NFL Draft? That'll be it for today's show, guys. I really do appreciate everybody that made it to the end of today's show. We got more NFL draft coverage and college football coverage coming your way all throughout the 2024 season. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button and join the family here at Chat Sports.